What's up, boys and girls? My name is John. Welcome to the channel. This video I'm going to be going over what I look for in a rail or a handguard for my AR-15s, some of the things that I have to have, and some of the things I could live with or without, some of the smaller things. But before we get started, if you like these videos, subscribe, leave me some comments when the video is over, like the video, share the video, whatever you want to do. All that stuff helps me, and I really appreciate it. It makes me feel good, so go ahead and do all that stuff. And also, if your guns don't balance on the mag base plate, you pretty much suck, so there's that too. Alright, so the first thing you want to do when you're looking for your handguard, when you're on your whatever gun accessory website, when you're going through the filter options, go ahead and click M-Lock and go ahead and submit that one. Don't worry about quad rail, don't worry about key mod. Just go ahead and go with M-Lock. You'll thank me later. But anyway, once you get sorted out through M-Lock, the most important thing you're going to look for, let me get rid of this sling real quick. Like I was saying, after you sort M-Lock, the next thing you want to do is look at the barrel nut, which attaches. If you don't know, the barrel nut slides over the barrel. There's a little shoulder on the barrel. I guess it would be the end of the barrel or the barrel extension that goes into the upper receiver. The barrel nut slides over and basically like clamps the upper and the barrel together. There's threads right here that attach to the upper. Barrel nut goes over it, clamps it all together. It pretty much puts the two front and back halves of the gun together. It mates the barrel to the upper. So not only does it connect the gun together, it also holds your entire free float handguard. Or I should say, get free float. If you don't have free float, if you got drop in, yeah, you can do that. But get rid of the front sight block or sight post thing and get a free float. You'll be happy. So like I was saying, the barrel nut not only attaches the barrel to the receiver, it also holds and stabilizes the entire handguard, free floated. So if you know anything about physics or engineering or anything like that, when you want to stabilize a long thing, you want another long thing. You don't want like a little short, like the A2 barrel nut is like that long, like an inch or so. So you don't want a 1-inch mating surface to stabilize a 15-inch rail. Like I've got a Troy Alpha rail on my my SPR, my 18-inch, and it's been doing great. I mean, it's pretty solid, but it uses like 3 little clamps that kind of like rotate and lock in. It kind of works, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. I'm not. I just prefer this better. What I mean by that is these ALG barrel nuts they're like this long. They're like 2 inches long from here to here. And this handguard could actually be solid without even putting the screws in it. They're machined so good and so tight that this handguard, once you get it slid on here, you almost have to like kind of wiggle it, twist it, or kind of like tap it from the front to even get it to slide over the barrel nut. That's how tight it is. And then you just put these 6 screws right here into the handguard, and that thing is solid. It's rigid all the way down. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to flex. Once you tighten it, it's going to be straight. It's not going to torque up the more you tighten it or anything like that. So it's going to be solid. The next style is pretty much the same kind of style as this BCM. Turn it this way. This BCM handguard, it kind of works the same way. The barrel nut's not quite as long, but this is a tighter fit than this one. You actually have to heat the handguard up to expand the handguard tube to get it to slide over the barrel nut. And then once you slide it over, when it's hot, it cools down and it just grabs a hold of that barrel nut and it's not going anywhere. And then once it's on there, it's super tight anyway. Then you have these 2 locking bolts right here that kind of oppose like that. They go through the ridges in the barrel nut and they lock together. I don't even think it's so much of like clamping the barrel nut as much as just keeping it steady from front to back. Or here's your anti-rotation right there. This one has them here, by the way. But those locking bolts, I think they're more for just keeping it locked to the handguard. It's not going to twist or rotate or anything like that, just because of how tight it is. One thing I'm not really a big fan of on handguards is the ones that have the split that clamp the barrel nut. Some I've seen I kind of like better than others. As long as it has a big barrel nut and like a big clamp, it should be good. But some of these have like really short barrel nuts and they just have two little clamp bolts right here. I'm just not a big fan of that. It might be just as strong as these, but in my mind it's not, and I don't like that. So this is my video. If you stand by that, you can make your video and prove me wrong, but this is mine. That's what I like. All right, so once we've got M-lock, we've got a good barrel nut and a good attachment point, I'm going to look for one with a complete top rail. I know there's some out there that have like the cutouts. Even this ALG, they make a version that has a smooth top. It meets right here, cuts down. I prefer a full length rail just because, I don't know how I'm going to configure the gun in the future, and I don't want to cut myself short by not having the rail on top. These longer ones are a little more forgiving, because you've got more places to put things. On these shorter ones, especially like this, where I had the flashlight, had to move over and use a tape switch just because of how short the handguard is. I really like putting my tape switch on the top so I can reach it with either hand, right-handed or left-handed, and the top rail to me is the best place to put the tape switch. So I look for a rail with a full top rail. So those are some of the important things. The attachment style, I said M-lock, it could be key mod or whatever. Just don't go for like the proprietary mounts that you have to like screw in rail sections and all that stuff. It's just a big headache. Trust me, I know. On my Troy Alpha rail, it has like holes in it. It's super light. It's strong. Out here it's rigid. The grip is awesome because it's got the little like groove or kind of like fins cut in it or lines cut in it. Makes it super grippy and super cool. But mounting things to that is just a huge pain in the butt because nothing mounts to it. You have to mount the little proprietary rail sections that came with it, and they're heavy and they're hard to get on because you have to put the rail section on and then try to like get a back plate inside there and hold it while you clamp the handguard and then put screws into it. It's just a huge pain. M-lock, key mod, whatever, is way better. Like these, let's take this air socket mount right here. You can just turn these like a half a turn and it unlocks the, actually they would be like this. It unlocks the M-lock T-nuts and they just slide right out. So two little half turns and this whole flashlight will come off. I can move it to that gun, I can move it back, I can move it up, whatever I want to do. So much easier. Good night. Just trust me on that. Just get M-lock or key mod, something like that. You're going to save yourself a crap load of headache in the future. All right, so some of the things that are a little bit less important, but still I kind of like to look for. The positioning of the M-lock. A lot of rails have them at the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. And then they have something else, cut in between them, like squares or diamonds or whatever you want to call it. And it kind of mimics a quad rail with the 3 rails, but it's just M-lock instead of quad. I don't really prefer that. I prefer like a circular tubular rail with M-lock all the way around it. Reason being is when you get like right here, you can mount the light right in the corner. Like this little rail section, you can mount the light up. That's where I always like to mount my lights, especially like this one. If I'm activating it with the hand directly to the light, that's where I like it to be, because when I grip, I can put my finger right there, put the thumb right here, and just move it over, tap the back of it. On this one, kind of the same thing. I got the tape switch, but I still don't like putting it right here. to me, it just makes the gun unnecessarily wide. I just like it to tuck it right there. It just kind of disappears and you don't really notice it. And it keeps it close to the gun. Another thing that helps with that is the Arisaka light mounts. We'll go over those in another video. So like this ALG, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rail sections on it, or rail slots. They're actually offset. It doesn't even have them at the 3 and 9 o'clock position. It's more like a 2 and 7 maybe. But what that does, it just gives you a little bit more room right here. If you can see that. It moves the light a little bit farther away from the top rail so you can clear the sight. The Arisaka mount, you don't really have to worry about that because it has 3 different options. You can move the light, forward, top or down, whatever you want to call it, to make sure you can get it as tight to that front sight or laser or whatever as possible. But anyway, that's what ALG was going with when they moved it. They wanted to move it just a little bit to give you room to clear the front sight. This BCM rail, it has 7 all the way around it, and they are in there really tight. Even so, I have it still up here by the rail. If I had a front sight here, I might not could clear it just because of how it is, how close it is. Even with the Arisaka mount, I think I've got it mounted as far this way as possible, and it's like barely clearing the pressure pad will mount right there. So on this gun, I might have to do something different or put it in a different spot, whatever. But this one's so short, I don't really have room for backup sights. I might get some in the future, but not right now. It's not that big a deal to me. So don't take what I'm saying as me telling you can't have one with 3, 6, and 9 only. You can do whatever you want. Arisaka makes 45 degrees that mount here and still put the light in this little pocket right there. There's ways around it. You don't have to get these. I just like these. The next thing I look for is some kind of QD mount in the rail. I really like that just because it's one less thing you have to add. It's one less piece of M-lock or just piece of big metal that you have to add to the rail. And it's just flush and streamlined. When you add those big things to it, it kind of stands out, whatever. The BCM rail, however, does not have a built-in, but they do give you an M-lock QD attachment. I just don't have it on this because there's no room for it. It's a 7-inch rail. There's not very much room. I would have to put it here, and the sling swivel would like hit the rail on the top, and my hand would cover it and whatever. It's just not going to be great. So I don't worry about it. I just run a single point off the back. But this ALG rail has one right here and right there. If you want to be right-handed or wrong-handed, you can run it however you want. This is actually where I prefer to mount my sling, toward the back. I've had them up front before, but I think they just get in the way with your hand when you're like going back and forth from the mag to the grip. You just got a long sling right here. It just kind of gets in the way. But you can do whatever you want. I'm not telling you how to mount your sling. That's just how I like to do it. And I have seen some rails like the Midwest rails that have mounts here and on the front. So that's pretty cool. They give you the option. You don't have to add anything or anything like that. So that's good. And if you want to know where to get any of these rails, these ALG rails, I just get from ALG Defense. There are some places that sell them, but usually they'll have like a blim sale or a Black Friday sale or something like that. It'll be 30% off. Sometimes they're half off. If you get a blim, it'll just be like the finish, might have a little thin spot, might have a scratch on it. I've got a blim on my SBR. I have no idea where the blim is, but I got it for like half off from ALG. This BCM I got from Big Daddy Unlimited. Cheapest place you're going to find it. If you don't know what Big Daddy Unlimited is, it's like Sam's Club or Costco. It's like a buyer's club for gun parts. Pay 99 cents for the first month. It's $1. Go check it out and see what some prices are on things, and I guarantee you'll be spending the $9 a month, $9.99, or maybe it's $100 a year, $99 a year. Whatever it is, you're going to be spending it because you can't beat these prices anywhere. I got this handguard from them. I got this barrel from them, and I saved like 60 bucks on the barrel, and I don't know, 30, 40 bucks on the handguard. I got a lot of stuff on this gun from Big Daddy Unlimited, including the optic and riser. Building this gun, my whole yearly subscription paid for itself probably twice. So there you go. Take it for what it's worth. But anyway, these come from ALG Defense. You can get these anywhere, but get it from Big Daddy. So I guess what I'm saying is you don't have to spend an arm and a leg on a rail. You might have to be a little patient because some of these aren't in stock right now. Or you might have to wait for like a good holiday sale or something like that to get like 20, 30% off of one. But, what's your time worth? A lot. So save up and make a good purchase the first time. Don't go out and buy the first little crappy handguard you see because it's cheap or it's super duper sale or clearance or whatever. Figure out what you want, wait for it, it'll be worth it in the end. That's my spiel, whatever. All right, guys, so there it is. That's what I look for in a handguard for my AR-15. I know a lot of you guys are buying rifles or building rifles right now, and besides the bolt and the barrel, the handguard can be one of the biggest, most important things on the rifle. So make sure you get a good one. Make sure you get one that has a good solid barrel nut, a good solid lockup or attachment system. And make sure it's M-lock. You can go key mod, but don't tell anybody. I prefer M-lock, so that's just my thing. But anyway, get you a good handguard, put it on your rifle, buy a crap load of ammo, shoot that thing, get good with it, know how to use it, and we'll see y'all next time.